Today's daf is Nedarim daf Chav Hey. So we are holding the second line from the top. The Gemara just wanted to know, basically the Gemara just discussed the question that if somebody makes a shavua and he uses whatever words he uses to make the shavua, and we understand one thing from what he means to say when he makes that shavua, but the person making the shvua says that his intention was he intended to make a different shvua. So the Gemara said it, but if someone makes a shvua that he said that he's making a shvua that is to aser because he saw Ka'il Mitzrayim. So the Gemara, that was the case that we were talking about specifically. The Gemara wanted to know that maybe the guy meant Shishim Riba Kiyotze Mitzrayim, but it meant the Nemolim, the worms, not people. So the Gemara was saying that even if he meant that, it doesn't make a difference. That's what the Gemara was saying. So now it looks like the Gemara is going to discuss that question. Do we go basar the person that's making the shvur is machshavas alev? Do we go basar what people think he's saying, what we think he's saying? So talking more about do we say that a person is not shvur does not go basar his own das? Well, Tanya, we learned in the Brisa k'shehei mashpino, so when someone's chayav a shvur in bezdin and dayanim are make him swear, tell him we do not make you swear on a condition that you are thinking in your heart. Rather, you're making a shua on our das, das bezdin shalmala, das bezdin shalmala fuke mai. So it's like tomorrow. What do the Dayanim mean to say when they say this? Lav, lafuke, what do they mean? They mean as opposed to da'asak lahu l'skundre. So da'asak lahu l'skundre, va'asak lahain shmozuzi. So lafuke would mean that he shouldn't go all das his own mind, would mean that a guy should not take pieces of wood. And he should tell his friend, I owe you money, so here I'm giving it to you. When he makes a shvur that he gave his friend money, he's gonna have a mind to be, I gave him pieces of wood, which I'm calling money, which he was calling money. So Zakti Gemara, so we see Bezdin tells him, don't have that in mind. So we see the fact that Bezdin tells him, So we see because Bezdin has to tell him in this case, don't have in das al das your own mind when you make a shvua. So what do we see? Mechlal, that without Bezdin telling him this, we see a guy who makes a shvua, then he has in das whatever his shvua goes basar his own das, whatever he had in mind. So even if he said so maybe he said he went on worms. If you see from here he could make a shvua that enough shame. So the Gemara loy no. And the reason why Bezdin tells him that when the mechayev a shvua, they tell him that loyal tanai but limchon amashbiyam oischa. It's not because normally he does make a shvua that din ashay. Rather, what is lafuke? Lafuke mikanya derava. It means lafuke, the case where a guy could make a shvua and he would do it in a way where he's not chayav mamo. Like the case, the ma'isa of kana derava. What's the ma'isa? Ta'hu gavra dahava masik b'chavri zuzi. There was a person that he owed his friend money. Asa l'kamei derava. So they came in front of Rav to the entire Amar lei l'leiva. The malva told leiva zil parali, go pay me up the chayiv? Amarle, the leiva told him, praticha. What do you mean? I paid you back part of it. Amarle Rava, so Rava was his best. And Amarle Rava told the leiva, im kain, that you mask him, that you paid him part of it, zil stabli. So why don't you go make a shvua deraisa, the paraite, that you paid back part of it. Azal. So the leiva went, he bought a hollow rod, and he put the amount of money that he told him that he paid, and he came to Bezdin when he was using this rod as a cane, which had the money in it. And when it came time for the leiva to make the shvur, he told the mama, why don't you hold on to this rod, which I guess the malva didn't know had the money in it. The malva took it, Nasav Sefer Torah. The leiva took a Sefer Torah in his hand, and he made a shvur that he gave the leiva, he gave the malva the money. Hahu malva ragaz. The malva saw that the leiva swore, and he thought he swore falsely because he knew he didn't get the money. So ragaz, he got upset. But taver he broke the rod, and he broke the rod. And the money that was in there, that he hid in there, fell to the ground. And it came out that the leiva actually made a good shvur in that case. He wasn't lying when he made a shvur that he paid him back. The malva did not know about it, but he found out later after he cracked it. So, because we're afraid, we have a chashash that people are gonna fool dayanim ways like this. They therefore Bezdin made a takana that when they make a guy swear, you tell a guy shalei al tanai shabalibcha mashpina ischa el al datenu. So that's what it means when we mashpil. We don't want a guy making his own story when it comes to make a shvur, like we just saw with this Maisa with the money in the stick. Zaktimar Vaiter Vakati, and we still find also. Do you not find a case where a guy makes a shvur, makes al das atzma? Tanya for Gemara, another case we see in the Rice that says we find by Moshe Rabbeinu when he was trying to make a shvur on the Yid in Arvis Moav that they should mekayim the Torah. Amar lahem, he told them, "Have you yodim shalei al daitchem and mashpia eschem?" And I'm making a shvur. When I'm making a shvur, I'm not making a shvur al das you, al daiti al das hamakom. I want you to make a shvur al daiti al my das al das hamakom and Hashem's das shenemar. It says the guy with the shvur in Devarim Perek of Tes Pasuk Yud Gimel v'lo itchem lavadchem. Meaning not just you in your mind, I'm making you make a shvur. So Dr. Mar, my Amarlu Moshe Yisrael, what was he telling them? Means what was he afraid of that he told them, that you should not make a shvur on your das? Lav Hachi Kamalu, did he not mean to tell them this? Dilma Avrisun Mile, maybe you'll be over on my words, Varmrisun al Datenu. And you'll say that the shvur is not chal, and that's why he told him, I'll die tea. That's what he said. I don't want anything wrong to come out of this. So therefore, you make a shvur, do it on my terms, on my das. So what was he coming to tell him not to do? So the Gemara, lav lafuke dasiku shma. That they should call Avodas Kechavim Elikai. So it comes out that even if they be over Avodah Zarah, they wouldn't be over the Shvur because when they said they're going to serve Elikai, maybe they meant Avodas Kechavim. So you see, because he had to tell them not to be nishba adatenu al their das. So we see from that normally somebody does make a shvua is mishtava da'at nafshe. So therefore, maybe when they said again, back to the old case of Olam Mitzrayim, someone makes a shvua, maybe it meant the kavanah was that it's nemalim and not real people, and it was a true shvua. So at Gemara law, there's no raya from here that when a person makes a shvua, he can make it an exaggeration in a oifen rachuk. So what is the chashash over here? Gemara, because of its chum ikrielikai, because lamaisa we taka have a pasuk that's masha from them that aviz chum is called olikai. The chsiv v'chol mitzrayim. It says in Shmois Perik the base pasuk Yud base that it says v'chol mitzrayim. So maybe they would think, since you see what it says v'chol mitzrayim, and that's referring to avodah zarah, they would say, oh, when we made a shvua in the name of olikai or whatever they said, they meant avodah zarah. So therefore, you have no raya of that somebody can make a shvua that's mashana medas b'nei adam. And they could say, "Oh, I meant what I thought." So zok the Gemara. Now the Gemara is going to go on to speak about this. How come the Gemara wants to know, like, I mean, the shvua Moshe Rabbeinu made the Yidden make? Why didn't he make the shvua in a different way? So the Gemara asks, "V'lash b'yasayin demi kaimisun mitzvahs." Why didn't Moshe tell him to take a shvua that in Mekayim mitzvahs? And in that case, they would not be able to say they meant something else. Be Mekayim mitzvahs. If they're saying something to the fact where they're using the word elikai in it, so maybe you have a havamina means avodah zarah, but why don't you just tell him to make a shvua in Mekayim mitzvahs? Zakti Gemara, mashma mitzvah sitzis. So I think it means just mitzvahs. It's shakol. It's equal. The mitzvah of tzitzis connected all mitzvahs in the Torah. So there's no hechrech that means just because he would have, if he would have said that, doesn't mean that the mekayim all mitzvahs mamash. So frekting more of a lash by yasin mekayim misin Torah. So Gemara have a better idea. Why don't you make them make a shvua that they are going to mekayim the Torah? So Gemara, no, mashma Torah achas, we're mashma one Torah. So maybe they could have said, oh, we just meant Torah Shabbat or Torah Shabbat Peh. Fracting Gemara, v'lash v'yasin kaimisin Torahs. Why did they say Torahs, Lashon Rabim? That would mean Torah Shabbat and Torah Shabbat Peh. So at Gemara, mashma Torahs mincha, Torahs chat, Torahs asham. Maybe you'd say it's going on karbanis, the Torahs mincha, Torahs chatas, and Torahs asham. Those karbanis. For Gemara, v'lash v'yasin kaimisin Torahs umitzvahs. Let them say Torahs umitzvahs. And for the Gemara, Torahs masha Torahs mincha, mitzvahs masha mitzvahs hamelach. So Torahs, I would say, would be going in that case in Torahs mincha. So mitzvahs, you would say, is mitzvahs hamelach, the mitzvah of the king. I guess you'd say it's not talking about Hashem. So for Gemara, lishma yasin kamis and Torah kula. Let them say Torah kula, and this way you can't just say it's going on Torahs hakarbanos, asham, chatas, and mincha. And for the Gemara, Torah kula, mashma avodas chachavim. When somebody says Torah kula, it's mashma just that they're not going to serve avodas chachavim. The Tanya. Why? Because you even see it says a lashon habrayos. It says avodas chacham so chamer that whoever's kaifer in it, it's like he's moide in Torah kula. So it comes out that if you're not avodah zarah, it's like either you mekayim kol Torah kula. So it doesn't necessarily mean that someone's actually going and doing every detail it says in the Torah. So fracting more of v'lash by yosayin the mekayim misan avodas chachavim. Let them say that the Mekayim, this mitzvah of avodas chachavim, let them specify that they're not going to be avodas chachavim, the Torah kula and Torah kula. So then Torah kula can't be going over the zar. Inami sheish meis v'shloish asur mitzvahs. Let them specify they're going to be making a shvur to Mekayim 613 mitzvahs. Very clear. Says Akdi Gemara, Ela Moshe Rabbeinu Moshe Rabbeinu was saying something. He he's trying to find words that is not a bother, it's not a tircha to go explain it at length. Rather, he just wanted to make them shvua al daiti v'adas hamakim. And if he would just say make a shvua al daiti v'adas hamakim, then that lashon would be koilo anything he wanted. So he didn't want to have to go make a. He'd rather have said like that than to tell them say this and this and this. Zok the Gemara weiter. The Mishnah said, Nidre Havai, if somebody says, I'm loyri isi nachash kikeres besabad, some like wacky nachash. So in such a case, it's a Nidre Havai, it's an exaggerated neder, and the halacha is that it's not a neder. Zok the Gemara. V'loi, is it not possible that the guy intended to make a truthful neder when he said that? There was a snake that was at the time of Shavar Malka, which was the melech of the king of Pras. Rashi says that. They put an amount of 13 horses which carried teven, and there was a snake there, and it swallowed it all. And l'chayra, maybe that snake was bigger than the snake was the size of a Beis Habad. So maybe there is maybe it could be a truthful neder. And for the Gemara, I'm a Shmuel b'taruf. When the Mishnah says nachash the size of Beis Habad, nachash kebeis Habad, kekayras Beis Habad, doesn't just mean like a big snake. It means it was tarf. It means it had splits in it. Kekayras Beis Habad, which had bekam, it had splits on the back of the snake. In fact, the Gemara kulu nachshi mitraf tarfei. Don't all snakes have grooves in it? Zakti Gemara, no. Agaboy taraf kamrinan. A regular snake has those grooves in its neck, but over here, when the person said leikaber sabad, he meant a snake that has bekaim along its whole back, and that's something that is not ben imtza. So v'lisni taraf. So for the Gemara, if you mean that it's a gabay taraf, why did the Mishnah say that? Then why does it say like kuris b'sabat? So the Gemara milsa agav orchi kamashmalon. Tano's come to tell you chiddush, a din noisef agav orcha agav the ikar din of neder. The kuris b'sabat gabay taraf. That the kuras b'sabat it has splits in it. L'may nafkamina. What's the nafkamina from this chiddush? So the Gemara lamekach memkar lem lecha to tell you hamoicher kuris Beis Habad lechaveroi. If somebody tells him I'm selling you the beam of Beis Habad and he does not tell him which one, so gabei tarf. If he brings him a beam and it has splits in it, then the mekach is chal, because that's what the kuris Beis Habad is. If he loy, and if not, it doesn't look like that, then the mekach is not chal. Why? Because a beam that does not have bikam in it, does not have splits, is not called a kuris Beis Habad. So the Mishnah is coming to tell you agav orcha side chiddush exactly what a kuris Beis Habad is. Nafkamina legabe mekach memkar. Amid Beis. Okay, so we have a fresh Mishnah, top line Chafhem and Beis. So until now we were talking about the beginning of the parak. What are the 4 Nedarim that are mutter? And this mission is going to go explain what are Nidrei Shkagos. So Zak the Heilige mission, Nidrei Shkagos, what are Nidrei Shkagos? So in Machalti, if somebody asks on himself a bread, and it makes it tonight, it says im achalti, if I eat today. Im achalti, if I ate today. Ve im shasisi, if I drank today. And he's making the neder because he held that he did not eat and he did not drink. And then v'niska shalcha v'shasa, and then he remembered, whoops, I did eat and I did drink. And obviously, if he remembers b'shas he made the neder is not chal. And Zakti Mishnah weiter. And also, if he makes a neder and he has a mind that he's going to do something, and he, let's say, asers a bread on himself, but Tanai sha'ani oichel, Zakti Mishnah, or v'sha'ani shos, I'm going to eat, I'm going to drink. V'shakach, and if he gets all about his neder, then he eats and drinks. So that's a shaygig. So in these cases, it's considered nidishkagos, and it's mutter without hataras chacham. That is the halacha. That is the first halacha. Second halacha. Omar koinim ishni nanesli. If one says, I'm gonna aser my wife to have anah for me, sheganva eskizi, because she stole my wallet, or he's asking his wife on himself, shehiksas b'ni, she hit my son, v'noidash lehikatu, and it came out, he found that whole story wasn't true. It did not hit. He found that it was not stolen. Now, such a case also in the neder's nachal. That's the second case in the Dishgagas. The third case is Ra Isan Eichlim Te'enim. He saw a group of people eating figs, his figs. Va'amar, and he said, Harei Elichem Carbon, that they're asar on you like a carbon. And then the Nimtzu came out, he did his homework and he found that the people eating were his father and brothers. It was his family. And there were other people there also together that were not his relatives. But if he would have known that his father and his brother were part of that group, he would have taken them out of the neder that he asked them. Because he did not want to ask his father and his brother. He's okay if they eat this figs. He only meant to ask the other people. So in this case, there's a machlekes. So Lagabi's father and his brother, the neder is for sure toyis, and the neder is nachal. Now, Zakti Mishnah weiter, the question is the other people of the group. Beishami Oimrin, Hain, Mutarin, the father and the brother are mutar, Umashim or Masum, and the other people that are part of the group are going to be aser. Why? Because for them, it was not a neder b'tois. He wanted to aser other people. Elu ve'elu mutar. Side the brother and the father, and side the rest of the people of the group are mutar, because since you made one neder to aser all of them, and you mevatel a neder for part of who you wanted to aser, which is the father and the brother, so in meal it's batal lagabe everyone. That's a machlekes b'sham and misol. Third case of the Mishnah. Zok tehele Gemara Tana. We learned in our brisa, kishem shenidrish gagas mutaran, just like nidrish gagas are mutar, kach shvuas gagas mutaras. So too, the brisa is saying, just like nidrish gagas are mutar, so too shvuas shgagas is going to be mutar. For instance, if somebody makes a shvuah, he's not going to eat a certain bread if he ate yesterday, and he swore because he thought he did not eat yesterday, and then he remembered, I did eat yesterday. Allah is, it's not us in the kikar. So the Gemara, hey chidami, until weird is this heter by shvuah shagagas go. Hey chidami shvuah shagagas. So the Gemara, kigoin, Rav Kahana Rav Asi, the story that happened with Rav Kahana Rav Asi. That what? That Hadain Amar once said, Shvuas Adahachi Amarav, that one of them, Rav Kahana Rav Asi, so one of them said, I swear that this is what Rav said. V'Hadain, and the other one said, Shvuas Adahachi Amarav, that this Rav said not like what you're saying. So even though each one knew that maybe the friend is right, Rav Kahana or Rav Asi, they couldn't both be right. Still, the halacha is the chol chad v'chad adait b'nafshei. So the halacha is that in this case there's no iser. If they ask for themselves based on the fact that they held Rav said a certain way, whatever the halacha was. Why? The chol chad v'chad adait b'nafshei, because each person made a shvuah just based on what he thought, whatever his opinion was. Shafer chol adait b'nafshei shafer k'mishtaba. So therefore, means they had a mind to make a good shvur. They really thought to themselves that was the circumstances, and then what Rav said, and that was a fact, and therefore they made a shvur. So therefore, even though it finds out later on that one of them were wrong, they do not become asa. The shvur is not chal. So that was the case. The shvur shkag is going to be mutter. Zok the Gemara weiter. The Mishnah said, Ra isam eichelin. If he saw a group of people eating figs, and it comes out that part of that group is of achiv, there's a machlokes b'sham is asa b'shol haldas mutter. Zok the Gemara Tanan Hasan. We learned in the Mishnah later on Samach Malal a similar machlokes. Legabe, if somebody makes a neder, they would not eat meat for 30 days, and he forgets that on Shabbos is a mitzvah to eat basar. So what's Allah? Chazak the Mishnah. You make a Pesach because of kibbutz Shabbos and kavod Yom Tov. So therefore, matter. Barishayna hayu oimrim. So first the Chacham said, Oisen hayamim mutar, that those days Shabbos and Yom Tov just would be mutar. Shar kol yom, but the rest of the days, the weekdays, that would still be aser, and that would be like Bishamay. That said, a neder tzutim with tzasa is not mutar the whole neder. The weekdays would still be aser. Achabar Rekiva limit until Rekiva came and he learned, and he taught them that neder shodim tzasa huta kuloi. He said that no, neder, you matir part of the neder, automatically the whole neder becomes aser, which is like Shita started this hella in our Mishnah. So you see, Rabbi Kiva brought up the Shita of Beisol. Amar Rabba, Tukuli Alma, Kol Heicha, Da Amar Ilo Yisi Yodea Sha'abe Nechem Yisi Omer Kulcha Masurim Chutz Ma'aba Dechulan Asurim. Everybody agrees. Zokt Rabba, Sabi Shama, and Sabi Sol agree that if they know afterwards that the Kroivim were there, and the Noider says that if I would have known my father and my brother were in the mix, then I would have said, when I would have made a neder, I would have said, you all aser besides for my father and my brother. Then the halacha is that the rest of the people in the group are aser. And the father and the brother are mutter. But loy nechleku, when is machlekes b'sham b'shol zok rabba, ela ba'omer ila yisideh sha'ab b'nechem, ha'yisi omer ploni asur ba'abba mutter. So loy nechleku ela ba'omer ila yisideh. So basically we're saying the whole machlekes b'sham b'shol, meaning everybody agrees that the father and the brother will be mutter and the rest will be aser. If he says, had I known my father and brother were in a mix, then I would have said that kulcham asurim, but besides my father and my brother. But if the whole machlokes is like the Gemara is loy nechol avo emer ilya yisi dei sha'ab nechem hayisi emer ploni asurim v'ava mutter. If he says, had I known that my father and brother were in part of the group, then I would have just used a totally different lashon. So now he's already taking apart his whole original neder. So now there's a machlokes. Do you say, being that he's saying I would have not used the lashon at all of kulcham asurim, so now he's really tishmeting the whole neder. So now there's a Gemara, there's a machlokes rabbis, and now there's a machlokes b'sham and b'shol. Is that considered that he's bringing a part of the neder and the whole neder is batal, or do you say no? B'sham says no.